Hi, Clarice dan teman-teman di Mobiliari. My name is Hadi. I'm the founder and CEO of New Media Folder. Di mana New Media Folder itu adalah sebuah media holding. Kita punya 3 business unit. So we have Manual Jakarta, a lifestyle publication that's been running for 7 years now. We have Malt Studio, a graphic design house, and the third company, a social marketing agency. So I'm the director of each of the business unit, of course, because we are a small company. But I'm also the CEO of the whole holding group. Gitu.
Oke, penasaran banget nih. Pertama kali kok bisa kepikir punya idea making a business di media seperti ini?
Yeah, I think for me sebenarnya it's a growing passion ya. Kalau misalnya gue boleh bilang gitu, karena memang since I was young, I grew up in Singapore. When I was young gitu, maybe with my religious background juga, we are being I was challenged lah gitu to have some sort of a vision and dream for myself, gitu, for my own life gitu kan. And my 15-year-old me, gue merasa kayak, I think I'm most interested in the world of media gitu, karena I love watching a lot of talk shows, late night shows gitu kan. And I thought to myself that ya udah mungkin emang what I really wanted to do was to become a VJ gitu di MTV gitu kan. So that was what I was working towards actually for what almost 8 to 9 years deh gitu. So I took public speaking courses gitu. I took a lot of MC jobs gitu, and when I was in Melbourne pursuing my degree, di situ gue merasa kayak with all my experience, my internships, my education background juga, gue melihat kayak I was going to graduate next year, and I thought to myself that what can I do gitu to make Indonesia a better country lah. I mean, as cheesy as it sounds kan. Dan gue merasa kayaknya Indonesia needs a stronger and needs a more whole gitu ya media ecosystem gitu, yang dimana menurut gue waktu itu agak patut dikasihani menurut gue kan, karena the ecosystem is just so bobrok lah in that way gitu kan. A lot of the media, especially the mainstream ones, are not doing what they are supposed to do gitu, and as a media gitu kan. So I thought that let me take this as my personal challenge. So it was a growing passion gitu, from someone that wanted to become a VJ gitu for vanity sake maybe ya, to a bigger dream yang gue merasa kayaknya I think whatever I want to do nantinya di Indonesia, I want to make some sort of impact gitu kan, and media is the place that I choose to be. So actually, we knew that I knew that I wanted to build this company in the long run. Tapi I started with Manual Jakarta gitu, an online lifestyle media platform kan, karena di situ memang kita ngelihat the world of media is transitioning to online. Tapi at the same time the lifestyle industry juga lagi in a very drastic transition gitu, from what people drink, what people consume, how people live gitu. Jadi menurut gua kayak that was just a perfect opportunity for us to come in and to introduce Manual as the pilot project of this company and its vision gitu sih.
Waktu pertama kali lu lihat kayak Indonesia ini lifestyle-nya menarik, terutama Jakarta ya, yang lu pelajarin atau yang kayak lu punya attention tuh apa?
Kalau dari sisi lifestyle sih, it was quite was quite a lucky moment, I would say. I mean, I'm sorry I use that word a lot gitu, tapi it was a lucky moment for me karena waktu gua di Melbourne kan, I had the privilege to be exposed to a lot of the amazing lifestyle stuff lah ya, from coffee to arts to gallery to music, entertainment even gitu kan. So I was built in that sense of that kayak a good design is blah 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 gitu, a good coffee is this and that gitu kan. So when I came back to Jakarta itu sebenarnya the problem that I was trying to solve with Manual secara utama ya, yang gue lihat tidak ada solusinya, itu adalah information overload gitu, dimana setiap kali gue balik Jakarta, setiap kali gue balik Indonesia, menurut gue kayak misalnya gue Google deh the most romantic cafe in Kemang gitu kan, karena I live in Kemang, I can 5 pages of Google's answers does not satisfy my understanding that no, this is not what I think is romantic gitu kan. Tapi kan karena it's algorithm, it's AI and everything gitu. So I told myself that Indonesia itu informationnya itu bukannya nggak ada ya, dan bukan tidak ada providernya, tapi saking banyaknya itu we need help in the curation of things. Ya, yang mengerti apa yang gua mau, yang mengerti bahwa kayak kalau gua follow Instagram lu, konten-konten yang gua dapatkan itu nggak redundant gitu dan nggak invaluable gitu kan. So that's what we were trying to solve gitu, information overload by curating only the best things that Jakarta has to offer. Tapi ya dari sisi apa nih gitu kan, lifestyle-nya itu beruntung menurut gua, kayak pas gua balik gua melihat Jakarta itu banyak banget tuh kayak hal-hal seperti itu, hidden gems, coffee shops yang kayak ini yang harusnya di highlight nih, ini yang harusnya menjadi viral gitu, bukan yang ada yang besar-besar atau yang kayak just because they have money and they can afford to pay for promotions. Ya kasihan orang-orang yang sebenarnya value-nya bagus, they do a really good job at developing their products tapi nggak pernah expose karena mungkin a lot of them are small medium businesses gitu kan.
Betul.
Gitu.
Terus berarti waktu pertama kali menjalanin ini manual, gimana lu dapetin duitnya? Kan kita nggak bohong lah, when we talk about media, we talk about advertising.
Ya. Maksudnya revenue dari company-nya?
Yes.
Yeah. This is the one thing that I learned from my ex-boss di Melbourne, is that kayak, as a media company, kalau buat kita dulu ya, apalagi gue commoners gitu, yang nggak punya media company atau nggak pernah kerja di media secara resmi gitu, kita selalu melihat satu kacamata pandangan bahwa media itu iklan. That's it gitu kan. Sebenarnya kan enggak. I understand that salah satu key revenue channel mereka itu B2B and B2G gitu yang di Melbourne. So they work with government not only to get grants ya, tapi to help create content for them, to help communicate their campaign to their readers gitu kan. And it doesn't go according to our principles as media bahwa itu salah gitu in that sense. Kedua, B2B gitu kan. Jadi apakah B2B dari sisi brand partnership, brand sponsorship, bukan iklan konten ya, tapi partnership to the point of fee for service. Jadi they provide copywriting services, photography services, event management services to these businesses. Dan itu menurut gue kayak, wow, bisa gitu loh. Makanya pas gue bikin manual, gue dari awal udah tahu kita akan tutup pintu paid promote, endorsement, and all these things that you see. Karena we feel that, especially in a market like Indonesia, it is what contributes to a problem bahwa media itu bias gitu loh, dan gak memberikan konten yang benar-benar baik dan valuable buat gue gitu, instead of just apalagi nggak ada regulation gitu, seperti apa kan. So that was the strategy that we applied gitu in the first place. So while we are building content, while we are building our credibility, kita di approach juga gitu oleh beberapa brand untuk ngebantu mereka gitu dari sisi agency works lah, I would say ya. I mean fast forward 7 years later. Nah makanya kenapa FOMI sebenarnya yang gue rencanakan itu setelah manual, the next business unit would be another magazine. Mungkin ngomongin fashion atau mungkin ngomongin sports atau business. Tapi gue belajar bahwa running a media is not easy. Making money out of media is really that hard. Apalagi in the world of social media right now where everyone is a media. Tapi at the same time there is that huge opportunity of agency works yang gue bisa offer karena I built a team of high quality creative people gitu kan, yang sangat dibutuhkan oleh banyak-banyak brand yang ada gitu. So naturally Malt came into the picture on our third year Malt, terus the next year the third company, and right now ya kita masih ada that synergy lah.
Tapi waktu tadi kan sempat ngomongin juga, mungkin yang ini lumayan penasaran nih. Apakah pernah waktu pertama kali approach, dulu kan nobody knows lah manual. Namanya masih baby gitu loh. Untuk di approach kayak, yuk kerjasama, apakah gain trust itu segampang itu?
Enggak lah, of course. I mean if you want to hear rejection stories, of course we have many of it lah ya. Misalnya kayak siapa lu gitu, kayak kita apalagi banyak a lot of the businesses that we approach kan mereka memang yang bagus ya, dan many of them are very idealistic gitu. To the point yang kayak lu foto di cafe mereka bisa kena usir gitu kan. So rejection from partners, rejection from our potential employees gitu tuh banyak banget. Apalagi kita bukan siapa-siapa. Tapi to me kayak I would attribute our early success ya. The first part of our early success itu is because we invested in quite an amount buat business card kita, gitu yang kita cetak di Melbourne kan. Karena itu tekniknya letterpress, so you know that the paper material, the printing technique, the font, the design is not anything that you've seen in Jakarta before gitu. Yeah. Dan with that business card, we came to a lot of these small medium businesses, apalagi businesses yang target market manual ya, yang memang kayak ngerti design, very particular about the kind of coffee they serve. Waktu mereka ngeliat business card itu, that's when their reaction changes gitu. That's when they know that even though we didn't have any website to show, cuma ada satu coming soon landing page gitu, they know that we were a different breed and we mean business gitu in a different perspective kan. And that's how we got a lot of leads lah dari sisi yang kayak cafes welcoming us, cafes helping us with content, and yeah, I mean the rest is seperti itu. Yeah, of course, as we grow, we are very thankful that there are a lot of key industry players like the Good Step people, Aksara people, Dialogue people yang benar-benar kayak key opinion leaders banget who notice us and who sees value in us and who trusted us to work together with us in something lah gitu kan, and that really helps us, propels us further gitu. Cuma if I would say kayak the earliest attribution of our success and of our trust gitu was through our business card yang kita beneran invest in gitu.
Dan after that kan tadi ada sempat mention bukan pengen bikin sih, tapi kan manual ini punya magazine juga, physical magazine. Ini kan lumayan kontradik nih dengan your point pertama dibilang kayak orang Jakarta, orang Indonesia udah mulai digital. Kok tiba-tiba lu keluarin physical magazine?
Iya. Apa ya? Karena emang dari awal, I think as a young entrepreneur, as a young media person, I was quite naive lah. Maksudnya, I admit that in seeing that kayak, everything is going online gitu, kayak online is the future, let's do it. Kan? Tapi makin ke sini, apalagi kita di ranah yang sangat kental gitu dengan creative lifestyle gitu. As the online world develops and grows, we see one trend gitu bahwa offline is actually the new luxury sekarang gitu kan. Dan apalagi dengan kita market yang segmentation yang kita pengen target, mereka itu they appreciate online, they access online information as their main and primary sources of information of knowledge. Tapi what gets them excited is not online content, online information. What gets them taking out their wallet and paying for something is not online content gitu during that. So and we felt kayak us being in the niche media industry, kita ngelihat tuh betapa rapidnya pertumbuhan media cetak yang jenis baru dan spesies baru lah, I would say, di Australia, di US gitu, di Korea, even Japan gitu kan, which makes us think that waktu itu ya daripada kita masuk ke podcast, mendingan kita ambil opportunity ini buat bikin media cetak, karena during then media yang seumuran kita, yang stylenya seperti kita itu hampir nggak ada lah gitu, dan we wanted to be that pioneer in creating a local printed products magazine yang memang valuable dari segala sisi gitu, and substantial I would say. Itu mungkin jawaban bisnisnya, tapi jawaban idealisnya itu karena as an online persona it's very hard for you to communicate what you are and what you are not to your audience kalau misalnya there's nothing tangible gitu kan. So we created a print as a way for us to really establish our value that journalism is very important gitu kan, dan a lot of articles nggak bisa ditulis terlalu panjang kalau di online. So we put that in our print. We gave that experience bahwa if you want to understand and if you want to know who Manual is, get our print with our sizing, with the paper material, with the smell, with the design, with how thick it is, with how much it is, with where you get it from, how do you consume it. Itu semuanya menjadi a tangible experience that Manual itu ini gitu.